The biblical pattern is burial. And the biblical pattern, here's my pastoral wisdom on this, which offends a lot of people, is to follow the biblical pattern, right? Unless you have some compelling biblical reason not to, right? Or practical reason, perhaps. Now, everyone gets emotional and they start arguing their case in a lot of different ways that I don't think ever adds up. Things like, I don't care what happens to my body. How many of you have said that? I don't care what happens to my body. I don't care. I just don't care. And all I'm saying is if your daughter dies, okay, and that biological unit was inhabited by the spirit of your daughter, you're not going to send it off to Riverside to some rave party to have people desecrate it, right, with necromancy. You're not, right, necrophilia. You're not. You're going to go, no, no way. You're not going to throw it in the recycle or the trash bin and put it out by the street. You're just not. We have become complacent about burial and what happens to bodies because we are never exposed to it. We're never exposed to it. It's tucked away in that building we pass, and it says mortuary, and we go, ooh, what's, you know. We need to realize, the old days, they buried their own dead, right? And we were familiar with this. And then the argument is often, well, God can do He can repair it in whatever state it's in. And I say, you're right. But because He can, doesn't mean I'm going to force Him to do it, right? I am not going to force God, right, to piece my wife back together after she's been incinerated and ground up. I've been to the crematoriums. I've seen it. I've watched how this works, which no one wants to see. I took our pastors there because I wanted them to experience. This is what, when they go, what should we do? I want you to see the differences. We went to the embalming room. We went to the burial process. We went to the crematorium. Here are the distinct options. You experience, because they're going to come to you and ask you what to do. Not only should you understand the biblical pattern, but you should know what they're saying when they say do this. My illustration is this. If my kids break a kite that I bought them, and they mess it up, and they take that kite into the garage, and they say, well, when Dad comes home, he'll fix it. And John says, yeah, you're right, he will. Give me the hammer. I'm going to smash it up. I'd say that's disrespectful, see. What they would do is take the broken kite and lay it on Dad's workbench and wait for Dad to come home to fix it. You do understand that is the biblical pattern of burial. We preserve the body as best we can. We lay it aside and wait for the resurrection. And then the other argument, well, I know it'll just decay in the ground anyway. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Really? Do you know when Christ is coming back? Because I don't. I don't know when He's coming back. What if He comes back in 3 days? If He comes back in 3 days, I guess the question would be, would you be cool cremating Christ? I don't think so, right? Not to mention all that you already said, and that is, this was always a sign of paganism, unless there was some compelling reason not to. And there's only one example that you can look to when the men of Jabesh Gilead burned the body of Saul, because he was already desecrated and hanging on a wall, and then they took his bones and buried him. They didn't grind them up and throw them in the ocean. They buried the bones of King Saul. The point is this, because I've had people leave the church just recently over this. They are mad at me to this day because I said what I just said right now. I am not trying to make anyone feel guilty here. If you cremated your mother, your grandfather, your spouse, don't. I mean, you did that. You did it. It's past. You can't go backwards. My plea to you as a pastor, a Christian pastor, is standing in a 1900-year tradition of watching not only how all the people of the Bible were respectfully laid aside, but how Christ Himself was buried. And all I'm saying is I want to preserve the body, lay it aside for the resurrection, and wait for that to happen. Crypt, fine, right? Burial plot at the El Toro Cemetery, great. That is the biblical pattern. And I would just say that's pastoral counsel to you.